underway here. It's going to be Druid versus Rogue. Is this the matchup that Frezar was looking for?
Well, his other choice was Druid versus Druid, so I think I would tend to say that Druid does have maybe a slight edge against Rogue, especially with this draw. Come on, Wild Growth, Innervate.
No, this is a very average Druid draw. Everyone always has Coin and Wild Growth and Innervate and 2 big taunts. 3 big taunts. Yeah, this is this is an excellent draw from Frezar. And Kolento, looking, maybe just tired, but he may be a little bit pained by this draw. It doesn't really do anything. He's got Backstab, he's got Piloted Shredder. These are kind of cards that, like, Piloted Shredder is good in its own right, but Backstab, Preparation, and Blade Flurry all need to be coupled with something to really have strong effects.
Yeah, I just want to point out that this Rogue deck probably is the Rogue deck that Kolento recently got Rank 2 Legend with. I mean, probably not the biggest accomplishment for Kolento, but Rank 2 Legend still deserves some respect, right?
Oh my gosh, look at this. Right off the bat, he draws a Spectral Knight. And that Spectral Knight actually a really good call right now with how many Rogues are floating around. This is a card that's extremely difficult for Rogues to deal with. Kolento's got no real play this turn. If he wants to take it out, he's going to have to use Poison, Blade Flurry, and pay 4 points of life, and lose his dagger in the process.
His other option is just to, oh my god, just to Poison, and then essentially take 12 damage from it. He's hovering over the Blade Flurry, and I think this is okay, because your opponent has used 2 cards to get out the Spectral Knight, so you use 2 cards to get rid of the Spectral Knight, and it's a relatively fair trade for what Spectral Knight usually is.
I think a bigger loss of it for Kolento is the fact that he's having to use tools that he typically does not want to use in situations like this. Picks up Violet Teacher though, and I think I'd like to see him play this Piloted Shredder first.
Well, one advantage of the Violet Teacher is that it just doesn't die to Wrath, I guess. Plus it doesn't die to Wrath, and I guess if you draw something else, you could have more options in the future. For example, if you drew like a Sprint next turn, there's just more possibility for value in the next few turns.
I like the Piloted Shredder simply because of Violet Teacher Backstab this turn. But he's actually still going to play with Piloted Shredder. Oh, he's just going to sap this.
I am ready to learn.
Yeah, I think this is a
that's
fine sap.
Yeah, that's fine. He's so, I mean, look how much counterplay he has in the coming turns. I mean, this is a spot where Frezar is really going to feel pressured to swipe if he has something like that, and then really doesn't have an effective answer to this otherwise. He skipped his turn 4 play, so his turn 6 play is just going to be another 5-drop or a 6-drop that is basically going to be in the exact same situation that a taunt was.
And again, this is exactly what Rogue is. I think Blizzard did a pretty good job designing Rogue as a class. It gets a lot of tempo early on with its really efficient spells, but really low-costed spells. So Rogue will have, typically they'll have board advantage, but they'll also have a card disadvantage, and how you're usually wanting to make that up is by drawing Sprint on turn 7. Back when Miracle Rogue was a thing, this didn't typically pan out, but now I think Rogue is exactly where Blizzard wants it at.
Yeah, I would tend to agree. Fainted Knives gets picked up. Not really an important draw at the moment, but he's going to use it to keep his Backstab around for another turn, get some extra value, pick up a card. Not the worst draw.
I'm ready to learn.
Yeah, not at all.
I don't actually even think there is a bad draw in Kolento's deck right now.
Maybe the haha would be pretty bad, actually.
It'd be pretty bad. I'll give you that one. If you found one. Okay, so now that he's in this spot, though, does he want to use the tokens to hedge against swipe, or does he want to use his Piloted Shredder?
I think, I don't know, a typical player would probably say to use the tokens to somewhat play around swipe. And I guess Kolento goes for that, but I've seen some Rogue players when they see this, they know they have to get damage in. The Rogue players are usually the ones that know how games can be lost with 1 or 2 damage. So they're the ones that might not take that trade and just might go for the extra token value.
Another tough turn here from Frezar. Draws an Innervate, but again, just not a lot of action going on. This Violet Teacher has just been a nightmare. It's made 4 1/1s so far, and it's dealt 6 points of damage, and it's still there. That's just, it's just like one of the. And Piloted Shredder's still there too. Frezar is just really, he had a really great opener, but just the fact that Kolento drew Violet Teacher and then drew Sap threw the entire thing for a loop. He's about to get more bad news here too.
Yeah, the Backstab eviscerate exactly what Kolento needs, and he even draws another cycling card. I guess it's not the most value here with the Fan of Knives, but I think it's again not a bad card to draw, especially with the Value Teacher on board.
I think at this point you're probably going to see his whole hand get used, and you're going to have to like. I think it's really likely that you're going to see his face go into one of these two minions this turn.
There we go, Fan. You know, Volley Teacher is so interesting, and just the Rogue deck is just built so interestingly.
Wow.
Because like, really, Fan of Knives typically it's not that great in a lot of matchups, but because you have cards like Thalnos, Azure Drake, and Violet Teacher in your deck, you can turn those times when Fan isn't that good into times when it's all right. It's basically Fan, red, deal 1 damage across all minions, and summon a 1/1. And I think that's fairly fair for 3 mana.
Yeah. Just wants to get the Blood Mage active here. Just having an extra card is what Kolento should value right now, and certainly so. His opponent's down to 10, and Kolento has no cards left. So this taunt, it's going to be another speed bump, but I don't really know if it's going to be enough for Frezar at this point. Kolento's going to get 2 cards this turn, and he's got 7, 8. He's got access to 11 damage just on the board right now.
Sludge Belcher is a good one, but oh man, Lotheb.
You talk about power draws. They are not short in this series. This Sludge Belcher, though, it is going to get some work done, I think. I mean, I wouldn't hate to see.
Is going to get more work done.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate to see Frezar. To see Kolento just drop both of his minions here and pass. You know, it's not like imperative that you deal with this Sludge Belcher this turn, and getting past the Sludge Belcher is buying you some damage. But how much is that damage worth? Like, you have to sacrifice basically your entire board to do it.
I actually wouldn't mind Lotheb. I wouldn't actually mind running one of the 1/1s into the Sludge Belcher and passing.
I'm ridiculous. He can heal his Violet Teacher with this. Or something far. I wasn't even thinking about that for some reason. Yeah, so he just loses tokens. He doesn't actually lose anything here. So he buys 1 point of damage, gets a super strong board. Frezar can't cast any spell. This is significantly better than my mind just lost the idea that he could possibly even heal his own minion here.
Yeah, sometimes people forget, like,
Yeah.
oh, you just heal your own face. That's all Earthen Ring Farseer is for, right?
Yeah, it's a tempo card. A lot of situations. So I'm pretty sure that's going to be enough. 5, 6. Yeah, that's more than enough damage to be able to get this job done. He's preparing for nothing. He doesn't need to. So Kolento got to jump out to a 2-0 lead here. Wow, what a strong lead and a strong finish from Kolento. Frezar's hand was it was so good too. Like, what went wrong for him?